Hello, and do we have a show for you tonight? Have we got a show for them? Yes, we do, because I am interviewing the future superstar that we all love. But first, a quick disclaimer, because some dumb klutz at this end, I don't know who it was, hadn't noticed that when capturing the interviewee's video, he'd left the mouse pointer on the screen. I don't know, you can't get the stuff, can you? I'm sure you'll agree, it all just adds to the charm. Enjoy. Hello, howdy, and welcome to a very special video today, because I have a very special guest today with me. It's going to be partly interview, but mostly just conversation, and you can sit in. Who am I talking about? Well, if I was to say that the angels got together and decided to sprinkle moon dust in her hair and golden starlight on those fine tonsils of hers, you might know that I'm talking of Tori Holub.
Hi Dan, how are you?
Hello, I'm mighty... Well, that's a silly question. I'm talking to Tori Holub, so I'm going to choose to accept that as a rhetorical question. I'm fabulous. Are you fully recovered from your recent shenanigans?
Oh my gosh. Actually, I'm doing pretty good, yeah. I kind of just threw myself back into my work, and yeah, so I'm doing pretty well.
Excellent, excellent. Well, I think that's a good place to start, I think. We'll start with most recent events, because I know people will be dying to know what you've been up to in the last 6-7 weeks or so. Done anything interesting?
No, just, went across the country, couple cities,
I believe there's been a band of scoundrels holding you hostage and dragging you around the country on some musical excursions. Tori, as I'm sure you all already know, has been involved in What the World Needs Now, a tribute to the songs of Burt Bacharach. And wow, you've made quite an impression, I'm sure, on that. But what I want to know, first of all, how did that happen? How did you get involved?
Oh my gosh. Well, Rob Shrek-Berry, who is the music director of What the World Needs Now, he found me online and he reached out to me initially just talking about, I think he wanted me for New York and Chicago and Michigan, just a random jumble. But then just slowly he kind of pried and got me along for the whole tour. And yeah.
He wanted you for the whole tour all along, but he was just testing.
That's questionable.
Testing your availability, was it?
Probably, yeah. I think he just knew I wasn't experienced with live performance, and so he's kind of like, let's just do a couple, and then I just kind of took all of the dates.
Well, I mean, that's an interesting point, because you haven't got a whole lot of evidence to show about your live performances in front of an audience. So,
Right.
Did he feel he was taking a gamble, or did he know that this girl can do this?
Yes, definitely a gamble. But he took a gamble with quite a few people on this tour, and it ended up being the best case scenario. Even Elise Tro, for example, had never been, I believe, on a tour with a full band, and to lead that, and for us to both be so young, so he definitely took some gambles there, but again, best case scenario.
Well, I think he'd be very glad he did. You talk about Elise, yes. So she was, I suppose, the closest to you in age. Were you best friends on the tour?
Oh yes, lifelong friendship now. I think we're roped in for sure.
That's really good news. So tell us about some of the other people. Tell us about all your bandmates, and feel free to share any juicy gossip you've got. So who was on the tour with you?
So we got, I'll just list who comes to mind first. So we have Rob Shrek-Berry, who's the music director. Kenny Dickinson was on keys. Woody Mankowski was on vocals, and oh my gosh, saxophone, guitar, just a whole list of things. Probin Gregory, multi-instrumentalist, was on, oh my gosh, so many to list there too, like trumpet, flugelhorn. Who am I forgetting? Elise Tro, of course. was on drums and vocals, and Wendy Moten was on vocals. Am I forgetting anyone? I really hope not. Oh, and obviously Todd Rundgren.
Yeah.
Can't forget about that.
And you didn't have a bass player, did you? Anyway, I don't think.
Oh no, we didn't. Yeah, no. Chasm Sultan. Oh my God.
Do you know? I was waiting and waiting. I'm sure lots of people were following Kazim and his online videos. He was doing little videos with band members, and he never got to the main name, did he? What happened there?
The main name. I'm not the main name. If that's what you mean. No, I think he did have the intention maybe of doing everybody, but we got so busy. Dates were flying by. But yeah, his last little video, I love Chasm. He was like Uncle Chasm the whole time. He just came around, was knocking on everyone's dressing rooms, like, getting them out and kind of just recapping the tour a little bit. And yeah, he was the best.
So you got to, I think, was it 20 different cities?
That sounds right, I think, or maybe 22.
22, was it? Yeah.
Is that right?
And were there many places that you've never been to before?
Oh, yeah. Well, I really only been where I live, Minnesota, California, Florida, Wisconsin. Like, I've been to very few U.S. states. So, yeah, I think like at least 95% of it was brand new experiences for me, for sure.
And I noticed that for whatever reason, the tour never came to Minnesota. Were your folks able to get out to any of the shows?
They sure were. Yeah, my dad and my sister came out to the Wiltern, which was our second show in LA. And then my mom went to Nashville, the Ryman, and then she went to St. Petersburg as well with my grandma as well.
Fabulous. No, you're making me jealous to think. I was saying this to a friend of mine. I was saying, look at this girl. She's just been just recording these little videos in her basement studio or whatever it is. She's never even played in a pub yet, never done a live pub gig, and yet she's on at the Ryman. It's like it's like me never having done a live pub gig and being put straight on at the Palladium. It's like, made me so jealous.
Well, I mean, don't be jealous, because there's definitely like I'm a very like 0 to 100 type of person anyways, but it was definitely a lot to be kind of thrust into all that all at once, but also just such a full circle experience for sure. But yeah, now I almost have to work like not backwards, but just kind of develop my own audience from the ground up with, more local stuff. Yeah.
So is that the plan then? You're hoping to get out and about locally?
Yes. Yeah. So this summer, I started working with JJ Seaback, who I've done some videos with here online. He's an amazing musician here in the Twin Cities, and him and I are developing a show. We've started rehearsals, and we're going to get out and gig this summer. Hopefully, I don't think it's going to be a ton of shows to start off, but we're just going to kind of gradually find out like where my audience is here and go from there.
So is it, we've seen you with him playing guitar. Is that what the show's going to be? Just you, him and a guitar?
So we have, including him, we have a 4-piece band together. So we have him on guitar, drums, keys, bass, and then me. And so, yeah, it's going to be a much fuller production. There could be some moments, I guess I haven't thought about that quite yet, about, where it's just him and I like doing some like acoustic songs, but yeah.
Oh, this sounds great. This is good news. I'm very pleased to hear about this. But on the actual What the World Needs Now tour subject, are we likely to see any more of those at any point in the future?
So there is kind of a plan to do a fall leg of this tour, which is super exciting, which I believe I'd be along for. It'd be kind of bringing in a lot of new people, I'm sure, to kind of branch out. And I'm super excited. Looking forward to all of that.
Excellent. So a whole new host of different cities then, I assume, probably.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, it's still like very beginning talks of it. Yeah, but
I think did Rob do an interview just before the tour started where he mentioned that it might be coming to different parts of the world, and obviously there'd be different casts, so possibly the UK. And I was thinking, well, if it's a tour without Tori Holub, what is the point?
oh,
But I shall.
oh my gosh, I would love if they asked me to do any of the other, legs of the tour. If there are any, like in the UK, I would be. Oh my gosh, that would be such an honor and such a way to just see the world too.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, we shall watch this space. As they say. What I'd like to do now is it's time to embarrass you a little bit now, because I thought we'd have a little quiz. I've got some questions. I've got some questions for you, and well, you need to get at least 3 right to get through to the next round. There's 4 questions.
Okay.
What I'm going to give you is 4 quotes that I've read from people online talking about various famous singers. And from the quote, I'd like you to see if you can identify who they're talking about. Okay, so here's the first one. Are you ready for this? Number 1. She has a voice like a velvet hug. Who could that be about?
Elise, for sure.
Oh, right. Okay, I'll tell you what. I'll give you your score. I'll give you your score at the end, shall I? I won't tell you if you're very right. So what about this one? Here's number 2. This person commented on a famous singer's video and said, "Your voice just knocked this guy off his horse, and now I need neck surgery. The whiplash I just experienced as I looked quickly for Karen," might be a clue there, "would make the fastest cattle stampede look like a slow walk to the water trough." Who was he talking about?
Rob.
That was about Rob, was it?
Just kidding.
Okay.
I'm gonna give you all sarcastic answers.
I'll tell you if you're right at the end. What about this one? A voice that transcends the generations, smooth as silk and caressing the soul.
Woody.
That was Woody, was it? And your final one. Somebody said this to this particular singer: "Your voice is like fresh baked cookies and hot cocoa while watching snow fall on Christmas morning."
Wow. Oh my gosh. Wendy.
Well, I'm very sorry to say.
All right. Did I get them all right?
I'm afraid you will not be going to the next round.
Shoot.
You have been eliminated because they were all about Tori Holub. I don't know. But
those are too much. Oh my gosh.
I know it's crazy,
really,
isn't it? But
really wonderful.
They lead me on to the subject that I wanted to talk about, which is this amazing and unique voice of yours. Where did it come from? And when did you know? When did you know, or do you not know yet, how special it is?
Oh, thank you. I think I was always singing from when I was a kid, just mainly to myself, in my room, and just always had a love for this old style of music. And I wouldn't say I really sang in the same style since I was a kid, but definitely same, tone and everything. But yeah, I just kind of grew in my love for music, and as I discovered more voices that kind of aligned with the tone of my voice, like, of course the Carpenters, but also like, I grew up listening to a lot of Lana Del Rey. I don't know if you're into her at all.
My son is a big fan. He tells
awesome.
me. I think he's been to see her at some point.
Yeah, so she's got this like lower female voice, and so I connected with female singers with low voices, and I think majority of what I listen to is male singers, and so just going from there, I guess that's kind of how this came to be.
So, did you find all this classic music? Did you find it all yourself, or were your parents involved in leading you in that direction? Was it their record collections, or how did that all happen?
Well, not necessarily like record collections, but the type of music they'd listen to. Like, my dad really was the driving force behind like getting me to listen to like the Beatles, and like we'd be on our rides to school every morning and would listen to the Beatles and eventually like ELO, some of the solo like Paul McCartney stuff, like the Flaming Pie album was a huge one that we listened to. And yeah, from there, I mean, my mom was like a big listener. Like, I'm learning this later, like she really did love the Carpenters. Like they had We've Only Just Begun at their wedding, and really loved like that style of music. I think they actually shared a Carpenters CD at one point. I might have to ask them about that again. So in hindsight, they did listen to a lot of this music, but I kind of had to go from my own journey from the Beatles and some of those early things I listened to eventually getting to I was really into like the Laurel Canyon scene of music, late 60s, early 70s, and then finally reached kind of that soft rock 70s, which is kind of what, eventually got me to sing that type of music and go from there.
There must have been a point where you knew that, oh, I might be quite good at this. Let's put some videos out. So how did you know that, or was it only once you got the feedback that you...
It was really once I got the feedback. I mean, the videos I was doing in the early days, they're all gone mysteriously from the internet.
Is that because you're not embarrassed by your old stuff, are you?
I mean, I think anyone is, that has like developed their voice past a certain point, like I look back on that stuff and I'm like more or less embarrassed by it. But if it's out there, it's out there at this point. Sorry, my dog is of course barking in the background as I'm trying to do something.
It's funny. I'm going to tell this to people because people know that we've done some collaborations, and Tori has sent me videos, and I can hear the dogs in the background. They're obviously desperate to get involved.
Yep.
Desperate to be backing singers. Is that it?
Right. Correct. Yeah. The little clip at the end. I still think I look kind of angry. I'm like holding her and like, yeah, it's a funny thing. But what were we talking about?
Well, no, it's funny because what we were talking about is about talking about your old stuff and thinking, I don't want people to see or hear this anymore. And this is one thing. Right. This is one thing that impressed me straight away about you, is because I know what I sounded like at your age, and I would quite happily burn those cassettes.
Oh, come on.
I did listen to some. I found one at my mum's house, and I was about your age, and I thought, hey, I'm the bee's knees here, I can do this. And I recorded this stuff, and I thought it was all right. But when I listen back to it now, I think, oh no, you sound like a choir boy trying to sing rock and roll. So hideous. And yet you, at this age, already sound like a seasoned vocalist of, in her 40s. It's like you've bypassed all that terrible stuff. Now you're taking stuff down, but we've not heard any terrible stuff from you.
Well, that kind of reminds me, like, some of my recent videos have been like one take all the way through, and like letting go of some of that polished, stuff that I've been doing, like just for even my like 60-second videos or 30-second videos. Like, it's been a brand new experience, and it's been really like, it's kind of forcing me, and doing the live performances for sure is kind of forcing me to like be in this mentality of like just effort all the way through the song, and like, really working more on the technique and delivery of every line. And so it's been interesting last couple of months. But
exactly, and I suppose I should actually talk about that so obviously, how much do you feel like you grew during that tour? How different was Tori in that last concert compared to the one in the first one? Oh
boy. So, I mean, just in general, like, and I told Rob this, like, this tour absolutely changed my life, like, not only, of course, professionally and musically, but personally. Like, it's crazy. Like, I'm not a completely changed person, but just like, I just have so much gratitude for that whole experience, you know. But yeah, I would say just performance wise, I mean, you can see it in some of those. I think there's a lot of videos of our second show at the Wiltern in LA, where like just my body language and everything is like so like inward, and just you can see, I think, throughout the progression of videos online how I start to kind of like I can drop my hands a little bit, and you know, and I just begged everybody like in the cast, I'm like, give me notes, like give me something, you know, because I need, you know, to really learn, and they were all so wonderful in helping me to kind of relax a little bit. And I think also just seeing like, you know, you're not alone up there. Like we're a band, we're a group, and there's a lot of chemistry between all of us, you know, and so it's just like being up there with my buddies and just going up. And so that really, I think, put me in that place as well, to just kind of drop my shoulders a little bit.
And I think those of us who got to watch a lot of those videos online, I can imagine in your position, I might have thought, oh, please tell the audience not to record any videos till our last few shows. But it doesn't work like that. But the great thing is that, yeah, we all got to see that progression, and it's fabulous. And as the tour went on, Rob got more confident with letting you say stuff as well, that kind of...
Yeah, we kind of... the show did change quite a bit. I mean, it was a relatively short, you know, tour on the grand scheme of things, but there were a lot of changes made from that first couple week of shows, or even just, I don't know, like the first maybe like 5 shows were so different from what the rest of the tour ended up being. You know, even just had like certain songs drop that just weren't working, and you know, eventually it was just like this nice like flow of things, and we added in some talking points, and yeah, so I got to talk a little bit.
One, I think a lot of people watching those clips online, and I imagine definitely the ones who went to the show, would see one of the real highlights from that show, particularly from your perspective, is you singing Windows of the World. And I imagine it's a song that a lot of people probably didn't know before seeing this, and it's almost like you are, for many people, the definitive version of that. Are there any plans to record this song?
Oh yes.
Excellent.
Speaking of the UK, might bump into you this summer, because I think Rob and I are going to record that one for sure.
So does Rob live in the UK?
He does, yeah, London. Yep. So we're definitely gonna work on that, and just I think I'm gonna go out for a few weeks and just kind of write with him and just kind of throw things to the wall, see if they stick, and kind of go from there. He's taking like a real long-term interest in my career, which is just so wonderful.
This is the news we wanted to hear. Yeah, somebody in his position who might be able to pull the right strings and get you where you need to go. So that's really good news. Well, if you are over here, let me know, and I shall make a space in my diary.
I would love that. Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe we could record a video with the two of us in the same location.
Perhaps. That would be super cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, back to Windows. That song is so beautiful, and it's very reminiscent of, I mean, there are quite a few songs that Burt Bacharach, wrote, let's say with Hal David in this case. That just, there's so many beautiful versions of it, but there was just never a definitive one. And I think we really have something here with that song. And Rob created that arrangement, fresh for this tour. and has so many cool ideas to make it even better, as a record. So I'm really, really looking forward to see what that one does.
Awesome. Well, everybody watching will be looking forward to see what that one does.
Yeah.
Speaking of collaborations, you've had some really successful ones. Tell us all about how you first got together working on these great songs with James Wilkus. How did that all start?
Yeah, so, oh boy, that was a year ago, I want to say, a year and a half ago. I think it was just a Facebook message that I got from him where he just said, he sent me a couple instrumentals that he had made of Close to You and We've Only Just Begun. And I just heard them, and like something just intuitively, I was like, okay, we need to do this. And so I responded to him, and we just jumped right into We've Only Just Begun. And it was especially his videos that impressed me with the, as we do as well, like the, split screen, and you see all the players, and
a lot of that was born out of lockdown. Yeah. Lots of people collaborating from different locations.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think, I'm pretty sure that's kind of how that happened, with his original versions of those covers. And yeah, from there, he just kept presenting them to me. He's like, oh, here's Close to You. Oop, my mic. Here's Close to You. Here's, oh my gosh, what else have we even done? I'm losing my mind. But yeah, like we just, What the World Needs Now, of course, which that one was like total coincidence for this tour. Yeah, he's awesome, and I got to finally meet him in person on this tour.
Yeah, this has been one of the great things. Also, people who follow you on social media got to see some of the. We saw that. I don't know how much free time you did get on the tour to actually sightsee or anything, but I'll tell you one thing, and it was so I really loved seeing that where you went out for dinner or something, didn't you, with James? Was that
I did, yeah. Yep.
That was so good. I'll tell you one that really got me, and it was kind of a coincidence for me, when you were in New York, and I saw you put a couple of video clips of you. I think one was in Central Park and one at the Dakota. And it was so funny because you know how lots of people online are describing you as a time traveller because you've stolen a voice from the 70s or something. But it was like really weird. When I saw that clip, I had literally just finished reading a book about a time traveller who'd gone back to 1980 to stop John Lennon being killed. And then there you were, a genuine time traveller.
It's me.
At the very location. This is very, very strange.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that moment because it was just I didn't expect, because we were in New Jersey, actually in Fort Lee, planning to do a show in New Jersey. So it didn't even cross my mind until like a couple days before that we would be literally able to just go over I believe the Washington Bridge to New York. And so we had a day off where Elise and I just went out and went all around the city and saw everything. And it was just one of those moments, like when I got to the Dakota, where it was like, I was oddly, like, I'm not an emotional person, but I was like, how did I like play my cards to somehow get here on this tour? And like, because I, again, like come from Beatles and that history, and I'm so fascinated with that. And so it was just kind of a weird, like, pinch me moment.
Well, I'm going to give you a little spoiler here, because he did manage to stop the guy shooting John Lennon, but John Lennon still died of a heart attack 4 months later in this novel. So it was all a bit of a...
What book is this?
I've been reading the time travel series, and
I see.
And I think I'm on book 13 of the series at the moment. Yes, but like I say, one of them, the guy decides to use his talents for good. And it just was just a weird coincidence, one of the many weird coincidences.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So speaking of collaborations, I think you've also been working with this English bloke, haven't you, from time to time? And I told Tori this yesterday, but I played for yesterday was VE Day in the UK, the 80th anniversary of the end of the war, and I'd been asked to go and sing a load of Wartime 40s songs at this special party that they were having, and I thought, I've just recorded a song from the 40s with somebody. What? and it's a weird thing to do this, but I mean, I've recorded duets with people before, but I've never performed them at a gig because it seems really weird to sort of stand doing nothing for half of the song while we're hearing a voice that actually isn't there. But I thought, I'm going to make an exception on this occasion because these people need to know about this girl. So we sang "Don't Fence Me In." So that was your first live gig in the UK.
That's so cool. Oh my gosh! Thank you for including me in that. Is there a video of that online somewhere?
There probably actually is. I recorded the first set. It was in the first set. Yeah, there was. I think I did. Yeah, I'll show you.
Awesome! I would love to see that. What else did you do on that?
Oh,
that show?
Do you know? I did another Andrew Sister, but I used to do Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy years and years ago, and this was quite funny, talking about how we used to sing and how we cringe at what we used to sound like in years gone by. I recorded a backing track for that 30 years ago. And so I dug it out and I listened. So obviously the other two Andrew Sisters are me. And I just realised how different they sound to me because they sounded so much younger than I am. So, but it worked. It worked for that. So I did that. And then I thought I need to do some old medleys, wartime medleys. Because during the Blitz, people used to gather in pubs or underground stations and just sing songs. And I thought, this is what we need. So I did a load of medleys of old wartime songs. And it was really great. It was really good fun. And yes,
oh, wow.
You made a guest appearance.
I love that. Yeah, send me any videos you got because I would love to do that.
It was very nice that. And so I want people have been asking me, and I thought this was probably the perfect opportunity to explain. The first thing we did together was, of course, the song "Impossible." It's "Impossible" by Perry Como, and I can remember thinking when I'd heard Karen's version, and I thought, what a shame she didn't record the whole thing. There's only one way to make that happen. But of course, it was a total shot in the dark. I sent Tori the piano track for this song in the key that Karen had sung it for. And I'm thinking, she's a 20-year-old girl. There's no way she's going to even know who Perry Como is, let alone know the song. And can you remember what your response was to when I sent you that? You said, "Oh my word, it's one of my absolute favourite songs. I've always wanted to do this."
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I thought, wow. Then so that's what told me that this girl, yes, not only has she got the voice, but she's got the taste as well. And so that's kind of how that started. And then of course we duetted on. I sent Tori I think it was a Spotify playlist of possible duets to pick from, and you chose Suddenly, but you're obviously a big Olivia Newton-John fan like I am, I can tell. We've already seen evidence of that in your shorts. And this is going to lead me into something else I wanted to talk about. When I recorded my vocal for this, Tori knows this, but I had COVID at the time, and I was going to go away on holiday in a few weeks' time, and I thought, I want to get this done first, but my voice isn't working because I've got COVID. And every day I was hoping I was going to recover, and in the end I thought I'm just going to have to send her a vocal, whatever it sounds like. And so I sent her my vocal, my COVID vocal, and
nobody would ever know. Like if you hadn't told me.
It's so funny because we ended up still keeping it and using that one.
Yeah.
Well, the reason
it was great.
The reason I'm bringing it up is because, and I think I've mentioned this to you before, one of the first things I heard of you that absolutely blew me away was your vocal on the Christmas song, Merry... I forget what's that.
Merry Christmas,
Christmas Darling. I think it's in the first line of that song. I listened to it, and it really grabbed my ear, not because of how beautiful the voice was, but something extra in there. And I thought, I bet this girl had a cold when she recorded this.
Yes, I did.
Yeah. And it's in the, how does it start? Greeting cards have all been sent. And the word sent, and it's funny how these things happened. It just, that is just magical. And that will be accidental because of her having a cold. And I've heard these kind of things before, like some of the early Beatles songs. There were recordings when John Lennon would obviously had a cold, but it added something special to his voice. Could you hear that at the time? And did you think, I need to do this again when I'm better, or could you tell that it actually was? It added magic that was accidental.
So the thing with that, I have a bad history with getting a cold right before I'm about to do something important, which we'll probably get to. I'm sure that's where this is headed. But no, so for that one, that was really early on. I think that was 2021. And this guy named Alan Licht, reached out to me, and he was, he had these tracks ready to go. He works with Pete Tokar, who's I believe a Grammy winning sound engineer, and has all these accolades. And so I was really intrigued to work with them, and so they flew me out to Ohio to record. So it was like, we had, I want to say it was like 2 days, maybe like 5-hour sessions each. And so we just cranked them out. I did the best I could with my vocal, but of course I had a cold and I pulled through. And but it was, that was something where the experience of just being in a studio was like, I mean, still, like, I think I still would feel this way. It was just like so incredible to be there and to have that, experience so early on in my career that, it was just like, whatever the result is what the result is, but I'm just going to go for it. And yeah, so that's how it resulted in Merry Christmas, Darling. There's kind of an interesting take on the song Superstar. And then also My Christmas Dreams was one that he had written and kind of, wanted me to sing as well. So all those have a cold, but they're out there.
They're out there. I mean, yeah, and it's weird, isn't it? Because you could have perhaps, if you'd recorded them yourself, you would have probably ditched them and come back to them. And I'm so pleased that you didn't, because, yeah, and I think I've said this somewhere before, but we can talk about how close you are vocally to Karen. Obviously, there's a distance, there's a gap that you can't close there because she's
right. Yes,
very special.
Absolutely.
But on that particular recording, it's the first time I've heard something and thought, I might even like this more than the original.
Oh, that's awesome.
And it's perhaps because of that extra little element that was unintentional.
Well, I think, yeah, it's kind of interesting. I've heard it or seen it, in comments and stuff. I think maybe I'm totally off base, but I think my tone is lower than Karen's, like singing wise, but she can go much deeper, like range wise.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So I think maybe having a cold, maybe a little bit more like nasally or something. I don't know.
It did something magical. That's all I'm going to say. Because there are things. I mean, and the reason why we love the singers or the songs that we love is because there's something in them that grabs our ear, and there's a few times that happens. And that's loads of times that's happened with you. The first of your collaborations with James, of course, we've only just begun. In those first couple of lines, and I think I've seen loads of reactors where it's like, after that first couple of lines, I was not expecting that.
Right, yeah. And I think, I mean, for those, of course, my focus at the time was definitely on like getting it as close to that original as possible with every little inflection and thing that I could possibly pick up on and recreate from that original. But yeah, now I'm definitely going in more of a direction of putting my own sound, into things. And I think that's why like Windows of the World was such a good song to have, for example, on the tour. Because if I didn't have that song, it would have just been, okay, well, I'm singing Close to You. And, two other songs, San Jose, I'll Never Fall in Love Again. Like, the Carpenters did those songs, so it's just like, okay, I'm the Karen. But you bring in something like Windows, and I can kind of put my own spin on it, I think that's kind of the direction that I'm trying to go in.
That's probably why that song has become such a highlight in that show, because it's unexpected. Like you say, we've heard Karen sing those other songs. But yeah, you're right. So as far as your own songwriting is concerned, is that still happening? Are you still writing? Because I seem to remember a while back you speaking in an interview about having a song that you were working on, a song of your own. Is that still in the works?
Yeah, so that was Years Gone By was the title. That's still something, I think this tour took up so much of my energy and time that I was kind of slowly beforehand kind of creeping into how can I rope in James Wilkus or, someone to kind of help me with the production of this. But I honestly think, that one production-wise was just not up to my standard of, wanting to really release it. But the musicianship behind it was and is pretty incredible. So I'm excited to keep working on that one. That might be one where I'll kind of bring it to Rob and see what he thinks and just kind of just have that as maybe a starting point. Because the song is very representative of, the title, Years Gone By, it's like a yesterday once more kind of reliving exactly what they were talking about. Just, you miss those old songs. So we'll see what happens with that one, but I hope something cool happens with it.
It's weird you talking about that. I've written a song on the very same subject, which,
really?
Which I might have to share with you at some point.
Please do.
Yes. So, as far as the rest of this year is concerned, we might be seeing you on the tour again. Very exciting to see what comes of your studio collaborations with Rob. And
yes.
Anything else we need to know about?
That is a good question.
And I hope we're going to see video. I hope we're going to see video of your gigs with JJ and the band.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that'll be super fun. And him and I, now that you mentioned that, are planning to write together as well. And I think what really helps with him is there's such an aspect of us both being just young musicians in the same place, and he understands that style of music and can also take it, to a modern level. We can kind of experiment, and so I'm really excited to work with him. And so just hopefully lots of originals coming soon, because I think that's kind of the direction I should go.
And we all definitely look forward to hearing those as they come out. And have you got anything else planned in the works with James?
Not at the moment, no. I need to reach out to him though to kind of see where we're at, because we've I think before I left we kind of were tossing around some ideas of what to do next, but hope to I think we'll do some, while we have these band rehearsals going for this local stuff, to just record those and kind of put out some full production stuff as well. Kind of a la James Wilkus or Dan Wesley.
And also to let people know, I think there might be another duet coming from us at some point soon. We shall look. You watch this space as far as that's concerned. Well, do you know what? This has been an absolute joy. It always is. Chatting with a future legend.
Oh, you're too nice to me.
But there's good reason, and I'll tell you what the reason is, and you'll know about it, because a lot of the feedback that you will have received online, let's say to a large extent, will have come from a certain generation. Can we call them boomers? Is that the word?
Yes.
And the reason, I think the reason why so many people think you are so special is because you literally do remind them of singers of that time, something that they miss. And honestly, to be honest, my tastes have always aligned with people 20 years older than me anyway. And I certainly hear that. So you are the great white hope for the future of music. That's what it's. I think that's the way they see it, and rightly so, and it's fully deserved. Well, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
It's been great, and yes, I look forward to hopefully seeing you in is it London where he lives?
Correct. Yeah, London, baby.
I shall have to make special plans. And we shall catch up then. So for everybody else out there, yes, watch this space. Lots of new stuff and lots of new directions for Tori Holub in the future. Been great chatting with you.
Yes, you as well. I can't wait to work with you more.
Oh, make that happen. It's definitely
Yes.
it definitely gets my vote. Put it that way.
All right.
Till next time.
All right.